Hey, it's Megan Harrison, and welcome to Online Courses Academy TV, where you'll learn the tools, tips, and strategies for turning your expertise into a highly profitable online course. And today you're watching episode number 3 on how to create a real business strategy for your courses and programs, part 2. So let's first start with a quick recap from last week, where we identified the 3 key objectives that you should be focusing on when creating your online course strategy. And that is objective number 1, sell, objective number 2, deliver, and objective number 3, maximize. And then we dove deeper into objective number 1, selling. So the importance of selling goes without saying. If you don't sell in business, your business dies. That's just how it works. But objective number 2, deliver, is just as critical to the success of your program. So the reason why people are willing to pay premium prices for online courses is because they want to expedite the amount of time it takes to get from where they are to where they want to be, because time is money. So what they're paying for is results. And if you really want to take your course to that next level, then you need to deliver on the results that you're promising. Because 1, that just makes you a good person to stay true to your word. And 2, this is what's going to really create that lucrative revenue stream within your business. It's when your customers achieve those results that they want to purchase from you again, increasing the customer lifetime value, become brand advocates, and they want to share and promote your program. So let's dive into the delivery phase. There are 3 components that I think you should focus on in order to achieve this objective. The first includes specific design elements that you should take into consideration for your membership site. The second component is how you're structuring your course content and actually teaching the material. And the third is my favorite, which comes down to basic human behavior and psychology. So let's start with design. And the whole premise behind the design component is clarity. When it comes to designing your membership site, your goal is to provide an environment that gives your customers clarity on exactly where they are throughout the program and what they should be doing next at all times. When people are learning something new, it's really important to keep that overwhelm as little as possible and make it easy for your customers to navigate throughout the program. I know from personal experience, when I purchased programs in the past and it was confusing on how things were laid out, it was extremely frustrating. And I could feel that almost anxious feeling start to come up when I was worrying about, am I doing this in the right order? What if I'm missing something? What should I be doing next? And this is something that you really want to avoid. And this is done by 1, clear navigation, 2, an easy way for your customers to see the progress they've made, 3, a course map, 4, white space, and 5, a welcome video. Clear navigation makes it easy for your customers to jump exactly where they need to within the course, whether they're resuming from where they left off or they want to rewatch a video from an earlier module. Showing your customers the progress they've made and making it clear what still needs to be done is best communicated through progress bars and progress indicators. I also recommend including a course map, which is a visual representation of your course as a whole. So with a simple glance in just a couple seconds, your customers can see exactly what's included within the program and where they are throughout the process. White space is one of the most valuable parts of your design, and it's really important in order to maintain a clean and minimalistic feeling throughout your course. You want your customers to be able to focus on the most important thing, and that, of course, is the content that you're teaching. So you don't need a bunch of flashy widgets going off on the side or sliders flying in and out above the video. If you sign up for my course demo, you can see what I consider to be the optimal course design, which incorporate all these elements that I'm discussing here. And the final design element that I want to mention here is your welcome video. And this gives you the opportunity to explain exactly how things are laid out within your course, what you want your customers to do next, and any other important housekeeping information that you think should be incorporated. So now we can move on to the second component of the deliver objective, and that is your content structure. Number 1 element here is being action focused. So if we circle back to the main goal of a course, the reason why people are purchasing programs is because they want expedited results. But the only way that your customers even have the opportunity to achieve those results is if they take action and implement what it is that you teach. So when you're structuring your program, your entire focus should be on what do my customers need to do in order to achieve that result? And then figuring out where they are, where they want to be, each of those action steps, and then structuring your content around these actions. Once you do this, you need to ignite action. And this is done by incorporating things like templates, cheat sheets, step-by-step guides, or other resources. The next element within this component is quality. And it probably goes without saying, but you never want your customers to have to listen through bad audio or a shaky video. So high quality content is always optimal. Next, when you're teaching content, it's always good to incorporate learning aids. And these are things like visuals, metaphors, analogies, or using examples. When you can relate a new concept to something that the customer already understands, it makes it so much easier for them to comprehend and really is extremely valuable. Next up are checklists. And if you're like me, it's almost addictive to be able to cross something off your to-do list. And the reason why is because we actually get this dopamine shot, which is one of the happy chemicals in our brain. So incorporating checklists throughout every video lesson is a great way to keep your customers on track and know exactly what they need to do next, but also give them that little hit of dopamine and almost make it like an addictive game that they want to keep returning back to, which is great for consumption. Next up is chunking. And this means breaking down more complex topics into bite-sized manageable pieces. So like I've mentioned before, you break your content up into modules, and then within those modules, you're gonna have lessons. So you don't want an extremely long, like 1 hour video. You'd rather have them in more condensed, concise formats. And finally, last but not least, are the 3 R's. Review, retrieve, and reflect. And it's through the process of reviewing information, retrieving that information, and reflection that we're able to move content from short-term memory to long-term memory. So finding ways to incorporate this within your course is extremely valuable. And this can come in the form of worksheets, checklists, resources, but also incorporating live office hours, community conversations, Q&As, or general reflection questions that you ask customers to complete after they've completed a module. You can also incorporate quizzes or other types of gamification. Okay, so that wraps up component number 2, and now we're moving on to psychology. So in a perfect world, when someone purchased your program, they would consume 100% of the content and then implement exactly what you told them to. But in reality, we know this is rarely the case. So it's your job as the course creator to take in consideration how you can use human behavior and psychology to increase the likelihood that your customers are actually going to follow through. And here are a few ways that you can do this. First, you want to be able to celebrate the decision that your customers decided to purchase from you, because this is going to eliminate or at least diminish buyer's remorse and also make a positive association with the program and the purchase. So including a really heartfelt thank you video on the thank you page is a great place to start. And then you also want to carry over that excitement into the welcome email, which will lead us to the next element, which is your onboarding campaign. Your onboarding campaign is a series of emails that will be dripped out to your customers over a period of time. But the goal here is to get your customers to log in and start consuming the content as soon as possible. The onboarding campaign is also used to stay on top of mind awareness. So if your customers don't log in for a few days, send them a reminder email telling them you missed them. If you're having live office hours, send them a reminder. And don't just rely on one form of communication, because people like consuming things in different ways. So I recommend using Facebook Messenger, adding Facebook events, adding it in the calendar in your membership site, sending an email, and then even asking if people want to opt in for text message notifications. Next up is getting your customers to write down their why this is important and why they decided to purchase the program now, and what it would mean to them if they were able to successfully achieve that result that they want. So if possible, I would have them fill this out on a form on your website, and then you can incorporate it in an email notification in your onboarding campaign. You want to give inspiration and motivation to keep your customers coming back and staying engaged. Which brings me to the next component, which I think is by far the most important thing you can do throughout your entire course, and that is incorporating community. Community and that sense of belonging or that need for love and affection is one of our strongest human drives. And in today's day and age, with the whole digital world happening, it seems like we're craving this more than ever. So if you can incorporate community within your program, you're going to drastically increase your chance of success. My favorite way of doing this is having a private Facebook group and intentionally building that community culture and engagement throughout your program. I also highly recommend having live office hours that you can see each other face to face, like on a Zoom call. Because just that face-to-face interaction, even though it's not technically in person, has a dramatic effect on the relationships that are formed. Now, overwhelm anticipation. The more that you deliver your course and the more customers that come through, the better that you'll understand this. But chances are you already have a good idea of where your customer may possibly become overwhelmed or lose motivation or interest. Mapping this out ahead of time is extremely valuable because it allows you to incorporate some additional tender love and care within the onboarding campaign and in the membership site or the Facebook group to get that motivation back up, increase the engagement, and get your customers to get back in the program and finish consuming the content. Gamification is an amazing way to make your content more engaging, especially if you're serving entrepreneurs because we're naturally already competitive as it is. So if you can incorporate a point system or leaderboard or unlocking bonuses, this can be extremely motivating to get your customers to keep coming back and consuming the content and taking action. So if you utilize LearnDash LMS platform, it allows you to do some really cool features with gamification, like the badges, point system, leaderboards that I mentioned earlier. And last but not least, do not underestimate the power of recognition. So we all have that internal need for significance. So you'd be surprised at how much impact it can have by calling out and recognizing someone that is either taking action, engaging a lot in the community, or basically doing anything that you want your other members to mirror. So my recommendation here is to send out a weekly recap email that calls out and gives praise to some of these members, and then also using the Facebook group to do this on a more consistent basis. Okay guys, so that was a lot, but I wanted to make sure that I got as much out as I could, and thank you so much for joining me. Next week we'll be discussing how to create an online course business strategy part 3, which is one of my favorite topics, and that goes into depth on how to build out your product suite and really maximize that customer lifetime value so you can create a true revenue driving machine within your business. I can't wait to see you there. And until then, go out, take action, and start building a life filled with more fun, love, and money. I'll talk to you soon. Get immediate access to the Ultimate Online Course Toolkit, a free membership filled with training, tips, and strategies on how to create a highly profitable online course. Visit onlinecoursemastermind.com to get started, and I'll see you on the inside.